Hello enemies and book lovers, my name is Ash and welcome back to my channel. I am super duper excited because in August is the Orilium Readathon. Now I'm always excited to be doing these and obviously I haven't been posting a lot, stressful few months. I just need a break, and so I'm hoping that August will be a really fun time for the Orilium Readathon, and I am pumped. So my character is Corvus. He is an Eltarian, I believe it is called, and he is a beast master. So his end goal is to train a dragon, which ironically enough, G actually recently has done a separate class you can take to become a dragon rider, and my entire goal the entire time was to have Corvus actually ride dragons one day, and G just manifested that for me, and it's great because now Corvus can be a dragon rider, and I am super duper excited about it because that was his end goal and now he can achieve that. So this is a readathon that is hosted by G on Book Roast channel, so of course I'll be linking her channel below if you want to check it out as well. There's also an announcement I want to make myself that I already put on my Instagram a little bit. So for the Orilium Readathon, if you do the subclass of a dragon rider, you have to read 2 books with dragons in it and watch either a TV show or a movie with a dragon. Now I decided to do that in a different month because I don't think I'll be able to add 2 more books to this TBR. I think this TBR in August has 8 or 9 books. I think 9 books total, I think. I decided to do the 2 extra dragon books a different month. And then I started going all out and thought, what happens if I just read only dragon books? And then I thought, what happens if I made prompts for the books that made my character's dragon? And then I thought, why not just make it a readathon? So I'm gonna maybe do a readathon in November. I'm gonna call it Drovember, which is so lame, but like, work with me here. I'm not the most creative person in the world. I am creative, but I have a certain extent where it just stops being creative, and that's one of them. So if you want to take part, it'll be in November. There will be an announcement video halfway through October. It is a very, very low-key readathon. I'm planning it to be a plot-based readathon, so we will start with creating a dragon that we will tame, and then eventually slowly, you know, get jobs for your dragon, and you know, I just wanted to have it kind of become like a choose your own adventure with your dragon kind of thing. And the first step is to get a dragon. Now you don't have to read fantasy to get into this. You can read 1 book and get a dragon, okay? You only need 1 book, okay? I will talk about that more in November. So if you want to have like tame your own / build your own dragon in November, it's going to be really easy to do. I'm planning on reading like a ton of dragon books. You don't have to do that. All you need to do is read 1. And you could read your own books beside that, and those will fill prompts as well. So yeah, it'll be very easy. I already have all the prompts already written out. It's going to be pretty simple, so that way anyone can take part in it. Regardless if you read 1 book a month, if you read 20 books a month, it will still fulfill all the prompts. So if you're curious about that, I'm going to be doing that in October, the announcement, and then November will be the month that we actually, you know, do it. And I wanted to do it anyway, so if no one else takes part in it, I don't mind, because I'm planning on doing it alone. So if anyone wants to do it with me, that would be kind of cool. You get to choose between being a villain, a hero, somewhere in between. There will be no competition, so there's not gonna be any points or anything, but you know, it's still gonna be a fun time. I don't know. I have all these ideas I want to do, so I think I'll do that. That's for November. For right now, though, we're going to be talking about the Orilium Readathon. So let's go into the prompts and talk about what my character is going to do. So my character is in the Beastmaster study, so I'm going to be focusing mostly on animal studies and a few other things. So let's go on to the first prompt. So the first class I have to take is alchemy. I only need to do 1 grade in this class, which is O, and for that one it is stone to copper. This is to read a first book in a series. Now this was kind of mean because I don't need to start series, but I'm starting a bunch of series this year. It's not good. It's not good at all. For this readathon and my own readathon, I'm gonna be starting a lot of books. But here we are, we're gonna try our best to just go with it. And we are gonna be starting a series for this prompt. And for this prompt, I'm going to be choosing The Hollow Gods by A.J. Vrana. This is the first book in the Chaos Cycle duology. I'm sorry, I have to read it because I can't remember anything. I have no brain capacity to remember anything, so I have to read it off of my computer. This one I have on my Kindle. I had it for a while. It also has a slightly low rating with a 3.6 on Goodreads. I'm a little bit nervous about this, but it is a shorter book. Oh, well, it says it's 400 pages, but if it is that long, well then good luck to me, because I don't know if I'll like this book. Usually I actually do agree with other reviews. If people give it low ratings on Goodreads, I usually personally give lower ratings, not because I agree with them, but because I feel that way toward books. Like, some people usually like low-rated books on Goodreads. I'm usually the opposite, you know? So I'm gonna try this. DNFs will count as read books for me for the Orilium Readathon because I have enough points. So I'm hoping, though, I will not DNF this, but it's potentially a possibility. But I'm gonna try and see if I like it. So let me just read what this book is about and I will get back to you in a second. Okay, so I'm really bad at recapping what I just read 10 seconds ago, but I'm gonna try my best to do that. So this book, we are taking place in a place called the Black Hollow. Black Hollow has a folklore of an entity called the Dreamwalker, and supposedly it is returning. This entity pretty much lures women into the forest and it takes them, and sometimes they are released from the forest, but they usually aren't alive. We're following 3 different characters, one female character who is possibly going to be the next victim of the Dreamwalker, Kai, who actually wakes up next to a missing girl and kind of wonders what that's all about. Maybe he is the Dreamwalker, maybe something happened, I don't know. And then we have a third character who is an oncologist. After losing a patient, he decides to try and deal with the folklores that are happening outside of the city or in the area. And so these 3 come together to try to figure out about this Dreamwalker and see if they can kind of discover what this thing is and what this entity even entails. So this is like a fantasy, horror, paranormal mystery. I mean, the guy on the cover looks nice, I'm not gonna deny that, but it's not a romance, okay? It's not a romance. It might look like it, but I don't think it is. There might be some entailed into it because there's 2 male characters and a female character, but it seems like it's more of like a mystery kind of setting. I will go into this and see if I like it. If Kai, who is the one that wakes up to the next to the woman, if he's the one that actually is the Dreamwalker, that would be too obviis, right? So hopefully that's not what actually happens. So for my character's next class, I'll be doing animal studies. For animal studies, I have to do all 3 of the grades. So O, Q, and D for animal studies. So for O, we're going to be doing an introduction to domesticated creatures. This one was pet pick. So G has videos on Instagram that shows her 2 cats picking numbers, and you could completely do that. I was gonna do that, but I also asked if I could use my boyfriend as a pet. And supposedly it works, okay? So what I did was I have a whole video on it. My boyfriend and I have a very interesting relationship, so I asked him, would it be dehumanizing if I made you, and then he cut me off and was like, that doesn't sound like a good start to a question. And I'm like, no, it's not, but work with me here. Would it be dehumanizing if I made you pick a book and put treats on it like a cat or dog and made you choose a book? He said yes, but he'll do it anyway for chocolate. So I ended up putting 4 options, I believe, down to determine what book he's going to be choosing for me. I think I did Spy X Family, which is a manga. I did The Mistake by L. Kennedy, which is like a hockey romance. I did The Hanging City, which is a book that I will talk about later on in this TBR because I needed to read it anyway for an ARC. And then I also had, I forgot what the other one was, but I do show you in the video what the 4 options were. I will go on to that part of the video now, and it's so silly. I apologize for it, but anyway, let's go. This is you. A mistake. So as you saw, unfortunately, you had to witness that interaction between us. My boyfriend did choose The Mistake by L. Kennedy. This is the off-campus, second book in the off-campus series. This author is problematic, so what I decided to do was I actually read the first book, which is The Deal by L. Kennedy. I read that book literally over half a year ago. I've been waiting 6 to 7 months for The Mistake, and I finally, I think, am on the first of the list now, or the lineup in my Libby app. So I have it, I have a suspension, so that way I can keep being like second in line and letting people go ahead of me, and now I get to finally read it whenever I want to. So I'm going to be finally picking up The Mistake by L. Kennedy, and like I said, I didn't want to support this author, so I usually like to get books from my library if I don't want to support authors, and that's what I did in this situation. We're following different characters from the first book, although I think it's like the friends of the characters that ended up being together. We're following John and Grace, and I honestly don't really remember much about the first book other than like some of the plot, I guess, like plot, I say loosely. I don't really remember the friends. I don't even know who John or Grace is. I'm sure I can remember if I read it, but it's been a long time. And I'm hoping I could get to these books now back to back, now that all of them are finally up to date and I am second in line for all the books, so that way I can actually get through these books and not wait half a year between them, and that would be really nice to do. So finally going to be getting to this book, Hockey Contemporary Romance. I'm excited to finally be getting to this. I'm wondering if I'll like them as much as I liked the first one. I don't know if they'll get repetitive. I don't know if I'll enjoy them, but I'm going to hope that I will. The next grade I need for animal studies is Dragon Chicken Hatching, and for this we are going to be reading a debut book. I need to get Kindle Limited for another book on this list, so I decided to read another Kindle Limited book and read an indie author, and for that I'm going to be reading Paladin Unbound by Jeffrey Spite. This is a high fantasy standalone novel, which I'm really happy to be reading a standalone because I don't need to be reading series or starting series at all. This book we are following Umra. Due to being half orc, he is shunned by society and is left alone to his own devices. So he finds himself in a group of fighters, and when there's a bunch of mysterious disappearances, Umra decides to and agrees to trying to figure out where exactly these people are going and who is taking them. Once he journeys into the keep, confronts the evil within, and loses someone, he goes to God, or his own God, to seek help. Trapped between protecting his identity and protecting the kingdom that he loves, he finds himself in a situation where he has to decide between the two of them or risk everything. This is very heavily fantasy-esque. I mean, we have a half-orc, he is going on a little journey to find and fight evil, and he loses someone along the way. He goes to a god that he unvowed himself to recently, and it sounds like a really quick fantasy book that I could probably get myself into and get through pretty quickly. This is only going to be 334 pages, so yeah, like I said, it's going to be really quick and straight to the point fantasy book. I haven't really read many like high fantasy, orcs, elves, that kind of thing in my life, so I'm looking forward to giving this one a shot and seeing if I enjoy it. The last grade I need in animal studies is D, which is bicorn wolf care. What's a bicorn? Reading a book in 2 days. Of course, I don't really read books very fast at all, so I wanted to be kind to myself. So I decided to let myself have a little bit of a break, and I'm going to be reading Berserk Volume 8. I already talked about Berserk many times. This is like I would almost say like a grimdark horror fantasy manga series that's really popular. Very, very beloved manga series I am loving. It is on Hoopla, so I don't have to wait in my library anymore to get these books. I can go on Hoopla to read every single volume. I am super excited about that because that means I don't have to wait in a line, which is great. I only get to have like 10 copies in a month though, but I don't read that many anyway, so that works out for me. Continuing Berserk. I love Berserk, so I'm not complaining, and it's a shorter book, so I will be able to finish this in 2 days. I usually read a manga in 2 days anyway, so that's perfect. So now we are moving on to a different class I have to study, and this is Elemental Studies. The only grade I need is an O, which is Elements of Earth, and this is to have a book with Earth in the title. It has really stumped a lot of people, like even including myself. I only own, I think, 2 books, or even like 1 book with Earth in the title. That is House and Earth and Blood, or like the Crescent City series. I'm not doing that to myself. I'm not reading that book, that is too big. And so I decided to try to do a series with Earth in the title, and I do own a series with Earth in the title, and I'm really excited about it because I wanted to get to it, and it's a sci-fi, and I haven't read sci-fi in a long time, so I'm pumped. That is Black Sun by Rebecca Brownhorse. This one I've had on my shelf for a long time. This was actually one of my wrapped up books, but I wanted to read this for the readathon, so I decided to unwrap it just for this. This is the first book in the Between Earth and Sky. So the series title has the word Earth in it. That does count, by the way, as long as it's in the title or in the name. Some people even can't find anything like that, so they use like things that are like planet or anything that's similar to Earth. In the city of Tova, we are usually in celebration as the winter solstice is approaching, but instead this year it coincides with the solar eclipse. This celestial event is said by the sun priest to be a unbalancing of the world. So this is pretty what am I trying to say? When I have a camera on, my brain does not work very well. I can speak to myself fine, or other people fine, but cameras, for some reason, I can't look at a camera and talk. Why? We have someone traveling to Tova in a ship, most likely a spaceship, although there is water involved, so maybe it's an actual ship. I'm confused. It could be a pirate ship. I'm gonna assume it's a ship that goes on water because she could control water, so that makes sense, I guess. More than a spaceship. I don't know where water would be in space. Anyway, says that the captain of the ship can sing songs that calm the waters around her, so I'm going to assume it's a ship on water. I will say that that makes most sense. And alongside her, she has a passenger who is described as harmless, although is young, blind, scarred, and cloaked in destiny. And as she knows well enough, a man described as harmless is usually a villain, which, fair enough. So I am finally going to be getting to this, and I don't really know much about it. Even that description didn't tell me much, but that's actually kind of good for me. I like going in as blind as I can. So yeah, finally getting to this book. It's about time, honestly. I need to get to it. The next class is Restoration. For Restoration, I need to do 2 grades, and that is O and Q. For O, this is Induced Sleep, and this is to read a book before bed. Now, I'm going to be choosing a really interesting one to read before bed, and that is going to be Temptation by Kay Lorraine and Meg Ann. This is the 4th and final book in the Mate Games main 4 books at least, but I'm going to be reading this with the read-along that's happening with Maggie's channel. As always, I'll put Maggie's channel below. There's a Discord, we can chat about the book. It's actually a really fun time if you like paranormal romance. Why choose? In my wrap-up, I discussed this, so if you want to know more about it, I would recommend watching that because I don't need to talk about this too much. I've already done it a lot. So yeah, this is the 4th book. Supposedly it made Maggie cry. I might cry. I'm kind of hoping I will now. Whenever people say they cry from a book, I always want to cry from a book. I expect to cry from a book. So if I don't, disappointing, but also I still think I'll enjoy it. The last grade I have to do for Restoration is Q, and that is Relocating Pain. This is to read a book in a new place every time you pick it up. I didn't want to be mean to myself, okay? I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. We have like 2 places to sit down. I guess 3. Okay, 4. Okay, 4. Dining table, computer table, couch, and bed. Okay, so technically I have 4, unless the one is on the ground. I chose Spy Family Volume 5 and Volume 6. Now, I will be doing it for both of these books. Most likely, it'll take me 4 different days or sessions to finish these books, which is gonna be a great time because I have like 4 spaces to sit, unless I sit on the ground. So, if I don't finish this within 4 sessions, I will be sitting on the ground, which is, I made my boyfriend pick my pet pick, so you know what, maybe I deserve that. All right, so I have 1 more book left on this list, and this is going to be completely separate from the Orilium Readathon, although it is going to be continuing my quest. So last month I did my quest, which was to read a book with Night in the title, and I read House of Night. I will be putting up my vlog for the House of Night book soon, probably the next 2 or so weeks. So I'm going to be finishing that before the month is over. So because I finished that quest, I'll be moving on to the next quest, and the next one is to read a book with the ambience that G made herself in the background. So as I'm reading this book, I have to play this ambience video that G has put a lot of time into, so I'll be doing that. And that was going to be for the book The Hanging City by Charlie N. Holmberg. This is the first book. I'm not sure if it's going to be a series or not, if it's just 1 book, but this is an ARC that is coming out September 4th exactly. This will be coming out. I got this because of Amazon. They let you have like free ARCs that you could choose from. I don't know exactly how I got this, honestly. I got an email that told me about these books and I got to choose one for free, so I decided to choose this one, and it actually looks really cool. This is a fantasy, romance, fiction, adult, adventure, sci-fi. I mean, it has like all the tags on Goodreads, so I don't actually know what this is about other than that. Obviously, I will tell you about the description a little bit and see what that is about as well. So in this book, we are following a character named Lark. She is abused by her father and decides to find refuge somewhere else. So she goes off and she tries to find a place to live, and she finds her place in a place called Kagmar, which is a place essentially just lived in by trolls. Trolls are the sworn enemies of humankind, so this is very, you know, different for her to be a part of this community in comparison to other humans. She herself has a power that she can inflict fear on other people, so she's able to make them like run away in terror and be terrified of her, but the trolls living in Kagmar forbid her to use this power on them. The city that they live in, the trolls themselves, are actually within this huge canyon. They live under a bridge. I just realized they're trolls living under a bridge. That's amazing. They're living under this bridge between this canyon with the city suspended between the canyon walls. It looks amazing. I will put up the map here. It looks incredible. So their city is literally hanging within the bottom of a bridge between these canyon. So cool. It's suspended in the air. Awesome. She finds herself in front of a troll who hates humankind, and so she has this dilemma of being with someone that hates her because she's a human, and also not being able to use her power, which is what she uses to usually, you know, defend herself. She's trying to deal with this troll. Supposedly she finds friendship, she finds love, which is curious, and she kind of tries to figure out herself as well as the area in the city around her with these trolls. And maybe trolls aren't as bad as humans think they are. They are usually seen as enemies of humankind, but are they? We'll see. This is really cool. I really like the cover of this book. Like I said, the map is really cool, and the whole troll under the bridge. I cannot believe I didn't realize the troll under the bridge thing until I was talking about it. That's awesome. So I'm going to be reading a total of 9 books in the Orilium Readathon. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really hoping that August is a good reading month for all of us. I will be putting up a little picture of all of the books I'll be reading and the prompts. I don't know if you can see them. Hopefully you can. Maybe? Okay. With that, I'm going to be finishing this video now, and hopefully I'll have this up at a reasonable time. I really want to be filming more videos, as I always say. If my life isn't going to keep being stressful, I will try to be putting up more videos. I have some planned. I have like 3 reading vlogs that are currently being edited. I have to wait for me to finish the books first, so I have a lot of like in the works videos. I just haven't had any that are finished yet. So it's been a little bit hard, but I'm going to try my best to upload when I can. Let me know what you're reading or what your classes are or whatever. So with that, as always, thank you so much for watching my videos. I appreciate you for being here. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a great reading month in August. Let's have a good time and have fun, and I hope to see you all soon. Goodbye, everyone.